All right, let's talk about dieting now. That's what we're going to discuss today, but not just the general talk about dieting, not the calories, not the willpower. The one thing nobody talks about is what your nervous system thinks about dieting. Your nervous system, it turns out, has a say. And we've been rather leaning in, we've been learning and leaning in to the nervous system over the past few weeks. It's a little nerdy, but it's very helpful to understand because here's the truth: your body doesn't care about swimsuit season. It doesn't care about fitting into the pants you wore 10 years ago. It cares about survival. Everything your body does is designed to ensure survival. And the minute you start cutting calories, your nervous system thinks, oh my God, it's famine. I've got to do something. And today I want to show you what actually happens in your body to your nervous system when you diet, why most diets fail because of nervous system stress, and what we do differently in my program to protect your health while you are getting results, to allow you to get results in a really special way. Before we get into that, though, let me say this. The Labor Day is coming up. Everyone knows that. And we are having our Labor Day sale. Why do we do it around now? Because this is the time of year where a lot of people come back from vacation and they find themselves in a panic. And so we try to support that panic. I've already been getting the calls, and I will be getting more. And it turns out people are pleased. I mean, I theoretically should charge more right about now. But from now until Thursday, and I don't know, maybe I'll extend it to actual Labor Day because I'll be away for the weekend, but it kind of sounds odd to say, okay, Labor Day sale, but we're not including Labor Day. But we are going to be having a sale. You could save between 10 and 15% on the cost of a program. The reason why that 10 to 15% range is because there are different programs. But that's the bottom line on that. So let's get back to talking about our body's survival response to caloric restriction. Because when you lower your calories, your body's first job is not fat loss, it's survival. Let me say that again. This will be the third time. It's your body's first job is not fat loss, it's survival. That's all it cares about. And so what happens? Well, first of all, your sympathetic nervous system will be activated. That's the fight or flight part of the nervous system. Second of all, your HP axis is going to get fired up. Well, what is that? Well, it's basically like this connection between these three little organs in your body, right? And they have to do with hormones. And so it's kind of like the communication from your brain to your adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are your body's stress control organs, but they work in concert with these two other glands. And I don't want to say the names because that's only going to confuse people. Hypothalamus and pituitary, but gesundheit. Don't worry about that. Just understand that the adrenaline is going to start pulsing. It's going to start flowing in your body. In addition to that, hunger hormones like ghrelin rise. There's a hormone called ghrelin. It makes you hungry. And then there's a hormone, it's opposite, it's seen as sometimes called leptin. And that's the satiety hormone. That tells you when you're full and you should really shut your trap. Obviously, we don't always listen, right? But it will drop. So we don't even know when we're full, when our leptin drops. And everyone's had that experience, right? Like, why am I still eating now? That's why. So what we're describing here, what we're painting a picture of is the body under stress, in this case, caused by caloric restriction. And the bottom line is you get hungrier, you get crankier, your energy crashes. And more often than not, people kind of ascribe that to their character. They're weak or out of control or what have you. But it's not weakness. It's physiology. Your body thinks food is scarce, so it starts hoarding fat. It pushes you to eat more. And basically, it goes into a kind of a conservation mode, right? And this is why dieting feels so hard, because your nervous system is kind of overriding what you want, what you've decided to do. So you're basically at cross purposes. Now, here's the dangerous part. The dangerous part is not doing it for a day or two. The dangerous part is if you stay in that survival mode while you're dieting. Because what's going to happen? Well, first of all, we've talked about oxidative stress before. And I always liken this to rust, to a process of rust. But basically, what's going on here is you have these powerhouses in your cells. They're called mitochondria. They're little energy factories. And they start throwing off these kind of bad things called free radicals, right? And when you think about it, just think about free radicals cause damage. That's it. They damage cells, they accelerate aging, they damage your DNA. Also, your metabolism will slow down. Your body lowers your resting burn rate, right? The amount of calories you burn while you are at rest, because it wants to conserve energy. Again, survival is the goal. It doesn't care about you wanting to look better in your bikini. Muscle loss will increase, okay? Because under stress, your body is sparing the fat. It's burning lean tissue. It's not thinking about fat burning. And of course, we've said this 1,000 times, your inflammation will climb, because when your adrenal glands are letting go of this cortisol, right? So you chronically have this cortisol coursing in your body. And that's going to drive low-grade chronic inflammation. And that affects everything in the body, really. Right? These little fires that travel all over affect everything, including fat loss, including healing. And then things like sleep are going to get worse. You ever find yourself waking up at 3 a.m. and you can't get back to sleep? And maybe you're worrying. This is what happens when sleep is disrupted as a result of cortisol. Okay, so your stress hormones are interfering with your sleep, also your digestion, because sleep and digestion are long-term survival projects. And if your body is in this type of mode, it's only interested in short-term survival projects. So it's diverting resources. And that does happen to create long-term damage, just like ignoring long-term projects does in life when you're always in survival mode. So the problem is that most people go on a diet without the tools to kind of mitigate these issues. They don't understand supplementation. They don't have a customized plan. They just know that they have to eat less, because that's all we've ever heard. And if you don't have that kind of supplementary support, well, you're not going to be able to address those free radicals that we were talking about, right? Those little buggers that damage cells. They go wild. Your energy goes down. You feel burned out, right? You might have brain fog, certainly fatigue. Breathing can get, more difficult. A lot of things happen. You get hangry. You're nasty. No one wants to be around you. So that's why you need a customized food plan. All right, to make sure that you're getting proper protein, and to make sure that your blood sugar is not spiking and crashing and your cravings don't go through the roof. And I got to tell you, one of the really big things here is what we call micronutrients. Those are like the little guys, right? The minerals, especially. If you don't have those are just great buffers against a lot of the damage that we're talking about here, a lot of the effects that we're talking about here. So you have to have sufficient micronutrients. On the program, we load people up with these because we don't want the diet to become so burdensome on you. We don't want you to feel so bad because your nervous system is screaming no and possibly hoarding fat. So we've got to mitigate this. How do we do that? Well, to get more specifically, we definitely cut calories on our program. I mean, we do want the calories to be lower than what you're used to, but we want to do it without the damage, and that is the art and the science here. So as I said, we use targeted supplemental support. We want to neutralize those free radicals, that damage. One of the supplements we use is really specifically designed to do that and is incredibly powerful. And many of you know the one I'm talking about. You call it the fizzy tablet, even though that's not the official name. And that's guarding you from that rust that can corrode your cells and protecting your mitochondria. Another thing that we do is the food plans are customized. We do a special AI test, and it's able to give your body the best foods based on like a zillion factors. I should probably not be eating the same thing as a 120-pound woman, right? In addition, we all have different health histories. We all have different genetic makeups and histories. So this is able to look at some of those factors in order to find the best foods for you. And the foods, of course, also have to be high in those micronutrients and in those antioxidants as well. We want to protect muscle loss, stabilize blood sugar, and keep the nervous system calm. We also want to manage this special pathway in the body, right? So pathways in the body are like things that are turned on, that a bunch of things happen, and we are turning on this special pathway called AMPK, all right, which is essentially a fat burning switch. So we turn that on. Now, a person could turn that on by themselves just by not eating at all. But we want to do it in a way that it's not pushing the system into panic mode. But here's where your responsibility comes in. Because all of those things that we know intuitively come into play, like proper sleep, like hydration, breathing. It's basically a matter of these are safety signals for your body, for your nervous system. And we really need those safety signals because that is one of the things that's going to help us prevent or mitigate the damage that could happen from being in a low-calorie state, being in a stress state. And then we also want to, and this is important on this program, and I tell my clients this, there's something about human beings, we don't want to communicate. Some people want to over communicate, frankly, but a lot of people don't want to communicate. And there's something to be said about having someone else there to champion you, about having some accountability, about having someone that can tweak the program based on feedback. Because otherwise, I mean, the AI can do a lot of the work, but that connection matters. And people have certain conversations in their head. Conversations like, I want to do it on my own. They just paid money to not do it on their own, but still they want to do it on their own. Or they don't want to be accountable. They don't want to face the music if they screw up. or they don't want to tell you when things are going good because they want to allow themselves permission to be bad. And if they're going to communicate to you when they're good, then they have to communicate when they're bad. I mean, there's all this psychological stuff that's going on. So communication is absolutely vital. I'm always harping on my clients about communication. I say basically there's three things that we need from you if you want to win on this program. The first is commitment. The second is communication. And then the third is a little bit of mental toughness. Nobody wants to change. Nobody wants to make changes. The nervous system itself is sensitive to change. So the mental toughness comes in to get over the humps that arise. The change in lifestyle, the discipline and rigor about choosing the foods correctly and taking supplements and getting your rest. All right. That's another part of accountability because these are conversations that we have. So remember, the goal isn't just to burn fat, and the goal is to burn fat, a lot of fat, and ideally exclusively fat because we don't want to lose water. Why are we losing body fluids, vital bodily fluids in order to lose weight? That's not the idea. And why do we want to lose muscle, our most metabolically active tissue? We want to keep your nervous system calm while we are getting you into that fat burning state. So we make sure you burn fat. We make sure your energy levels go up. We make sure you're healing at a higher rate. And all of this will increase your chance of keeping it off as well. So here's the big reframe that I want everyone to adopt, right? I usually don't say to people, you need to adopt this frame, but I'm kind of doing it now. And this is something I need to do more often because people come in with their own kind of pre-frames. And really, you'd be better off adopting the frame that's going to work for you best. And here's the frame that's going to work for you best. Dieting doesn't fail because you're weak, because of you don't have willpower. It fails when your body is in that stress mode and it thinks it's unsafe. So when you calm the nervous system, when you support your body with the right food, the right supplements, we build in those safety signals, then the fat loss is going to happen without the damage. It's going to be sustainable. And if you've ever had the experience of feeling like your body is fighting you while you're dieting, it's not your imagination. That's your nervous system. And that's the kind of thing you have to tell me if you're on a program. Because those are signs that we need to do something different. And the good news is we know how to work with it. We know how to not overwhelm you and not work against your body's natural impulses. And that's why we get such great results. Okay, so as I said, Labor Day is coming up. We have the Labor Day sale. Right after Labor Day, Real Life is coming up. So we usually refer to this promo as the Back to Reality promo, back to life, back to reality, just like the song from, I don't know, who is that? CNC Music Factory? Pretty good song. Anyway, listen, have a terrific week, everybody. It might be harder to reach me, but keep trying, and I will get back to you. I'm talking about when I'm away, because if I'm in the woods, sometimes the signals don't get through, but it will happen. Have a terrific week. I will speak to you next week. Take care.